Friendship, fortitude, fearlessness, and all of the other possible traits you could possibly imagine are on full display as the heroes of our story embark on a journey to discover how to defeat their foes and reach their destinations. I present to you The Cure for Your Depression, an installment from the series beloved by all, whose eyes are graced with its cinema, ears blessed with its dialogue, and hearts touched by its resounding story. The Rings of Power, Episode 3. Arondir. Essentially, the rock of the elven world has been captured and enslaved by orcs to dig trenches with the rest of his elven cohort. But don't be confused, he's already outsmarted the orcs. He allowed himself to be captured in order to save his friends and anyone else in need of saving, especially the screaming women, who you can hear but you can't see, because they're so fast at digging. Although, come to think of it, they do not need any assistance, seeing as all of the women in this series are very much stronger and very much smarter than any of their male counterparts. And speaking of strong women, Galadriel, whose jaw is so strong she can barely speak, wakes up from her slumber aboard a ship populated with seamen and commands the respect of all of them. The ship arrives at the westernmost city of Numenor, where Galadriel quickly corrects her sidekick LeFou and puts him in his place.
These men are not like you. In the Great War, your ancestors stood with Morgoth. These men stood with the elves.
Next, we're introduced to the ruler of the great city, the Queen Regent. The interaction between her and Galadriel is what you might expect from an interaction between two incredibly strong and accomplished women. A dueling of tongues ensues, only to cease when the Queen Regent and Galadriel give LeFou and the Queen Regent's servant permission to have a small, inconsequential back and forth. The Queen Regent's servant then praises Galadriel, as he should, and declares that she will be an honored guest in the city. While Galadriel and LeFou are leaving the hall of the Queen Regent, LeFou gives Galadriel a gift for being so kind to him, her dagger, which he stole from Elendil, the captain of the ship they came in on. Speaking of Elendil, his son Isildur is training to be a sailor. Him and the rest of his class, after a long day's work, repeat the truth that echoes across all of Numenor, and in fact, across all of space and time. The sea is always right.
The sea is always right!
And right when you think you couldn't hear anything more true, Isildur's sister arrives and imparts this nugget of wisdom on him and his friends.
Come find us later, all right? Don't be like your brother. You got your whole life to be an old maid.
Or to be young.
Never grow old, never ever die young.
Back at Numenor, the Queen Regent calls Elendil in for questioning. She is meticulous in her probing and ultimately inflicts a nasty burn on Elendil after he tells her the sea is always right.
The sea cannot commit treason.
Realistically, it's only always right unless the Queen Regent says so. Of course. The Queen Regent then tasks Elendil with keeping tabs on Galadriel and generously gives him a gift which seems to resemble Aragorn's sword Anduril, but the sword is better and more perfect than Anduril in every way. While all of this is going on, Arondir is back in the trenches, easily completing all of the necessary tasks in order to blend in with the rest of the orcs' prisoners. He also strategically waits to complete the orders to cut down a tree until after the orcs kill one of the other elves. He does this in order to lull the orcs into a false sense of security. Brilliant. Meanwhile, in Numenor, Galadriel turns into Ezio from Assassin's Creed and very easily escapes from the guards who are watching her. She then has a quick chat with Elendil where she roasts him.
I'm afraid the Queen has charged me with seeing to it that you cause no further disturbance. I believe she saw it as a punishment.
Then she and I have something in common after all. We both wish you'd never brought me here.
And then threatens to find out what he ate for breakfast, then roasts him again.
Who is this mortal who speaks to me as if he has the slightest idea who I am?
Elendil is no match for these incredibly cunning women. Because Galadriel is so persuasive, she convinces Elendil to take her to the Hall of Lore, and off they go. Galadriel, the best rider in all the land, revels in the experience of riding. It makes her feel more alive than anything else. Back in Numenor, LeFou tries to convince a blacksmith to let him pound some iron, but he's told that he would need to be part of the guild. So since LeFou has massive pockets filled to the brim with the currency of Numenor, the city he just arrived in after being stranded at sea for God knows how long, he decides to get a pub full of citizens drunk in order to sneak one of the much-needed guild badges off of one of them. Unfortunately, he celebrates a little too much and draws the attention of the fellow he swiped the guild badge from. But since he's about a tenth as cunning and as strong as Galadriel, he's easily able to mop the floor with these guys. But then decides he has a desire to hang out in jail for a bit, so he allows himself to be captured by the soldiers who show up because of the commotion. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Lore, Galadriel does some incredible detective work to discover that Sauron's successor means to take over the Southlands. All of a sudden, we see a tribe of people dancing through the woods, chanting a phrase well known by all the world. Nobody goes off trail, and nobody walks alone.
Nobody goes off trail.
This tribe is the charming Harfoots, who are preparing for their long journey. Nori Brandyfoot, the heroine of the tribe, borrows diagrams of the constellations that the homeless man she took in pointed out and brings them to him. The homeless man unfortunately catches the diagrams on fire and stumbles into the tribe's camp while they're reading the names of the people who the tribe left behind. Because of this, Nori's family is going to have to travel at the back of the caravan, but never fear, Nori had planned for this all along. Back in Numenor, Elendil has an incredible sit-down chat with his children. It's honestly so incredible, I'm at a loss for words as what to say about it. Over in prison, LeFou is visited by Galadriel, where she offers him the honor of officially being her honorary sidekick, to which LeFou responds, "Hell to the yeah." Within the tallest tower in Numenor, the Queen Regent tells her father it's showdown time. There has finally arrived a person to match her brilliance, strength, and cunning. Galadriel. Back in the Harfoot caravan, Nori puts her plan into action and allows the homeless man she rescued to be her servant, an honor which he eagerly accepts, and pull her family's cart. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Arondir and his elven brethren are ready to fight the Orcs. Arondir does so much incredible kung fu, the Orcs are forced to release the warg, a deathly scary hyena creature which, after tearing through and killing most of the other elves, Arondir easily defeats with one spear throw straight to the heart. Arondir then allows himself to be recaptured so as to bait the Orcs into taking him to their leader. And that was episode 3 of the Rings of Power. Congratulations on your depression. It is now cured. You may feel like you can fly at this point or feel like you can carry your entire family up a mountain. Both things I suggest you don't try doing. But one thing you can do is sit there and realize that you've just witnessed the greatest piece of cinema to date described to you by me,